The Constitution, the one thing that we live and die by, is now coming full circle. We can actually get married now with everyone else.
The stay has not been lifted. It may not be. It may be in a court order, but that might take several days and possibly a week.
Okay, so those are both sides of views from the same-sex marriage argument. Minutes after the historic Supreme Court decision came down, there were celebrations and disappointment in some states, as you heard in that last soundbite. HLN legal analyst Joey Jackson joins us now here from Atlanta. It's good to have you in town.
Good to be here.
Good morning to you. Great to see you. You know, we heard about couples in several states being turned away for a marriage license, and I think some people instantly said, wait a second, now that this is passed, how's it legal?
It's not, and it's not at all. Here's the reality. What happens is there's a process, Lynn, as we know, and the Supreme Court is the law of the land, and when the Supreme Court speaks, you have to listen, and therefore, you know, I hearken it back to historically. You look at Brown versus the Board of Education in 1954. Remember this, Lynn? Separate but equal under Plessy versus Ferguson was the law of the land. Well, in 1954, the Supreme Court unanimously said, no, it's not the law, and it's illegal, but it didn't mean that every state went in line quickly. There were some states that, of course, opposed that. And I think, you know, if you look at it now, you may have to take some states kicking and screaming, but ultimately, I think that kicking and screaming will be for a short period of time. The Supreme Court has spoken. I know Mississippi is holding out.
Because of some stay.
Yes, because there's a Fifth Circuit stay. The Fifth Circuit covers Texas. It covers Mississippi. It also covers Louisiana. There's a stay right now based upon the Fifth Circuit appellate court, and so they're saying not until that's resolved will we move forward, but I think that's really a procedural issue. There will be same-sex marriage in Mississippi, Louisiana, and in the 50 states throughout this union.
Days or weeks to come. What about private businesses or churches, or the Catholic Church, for example? Now that it's the law of the land, can they, as a private institution, say, but we don't agree with it, so no, it won't happen here?
It's a wonderful question. And remember this, the Supreme Court simply addressed the issue of your right to be married. Doesn't matter whether you're gay, doesn't matter man on man, woman on woman, God bless you, wherever you want to do. So the Supreme Court spoke to the issue of your right to marry. It didn't speak to the compelling a religious institution to perform the marriages. And so there'll always be a religious person who happens not to agree with this, would have a right, technically, you know, if they felt that it was against their religious freedoms to do it. So I think that we're going to see a major debate in that area as to whether religious people who are compelled to not support this need to perform the marriage or whether they can opt out of doing it. That's another debate.
Like a hotel, for example, that could say, I don't want to host this at my hotel?
Well, yeah, there are different laws. Remember this, that we live in a country where every state is a sovereign, and that means every state develops its own laws as it relates to the death penalty, as it relates to gun control, as it relates to sexual orientation. And so there are various states, and there's no federal statute dealing with the issue of sexual orientation. So that's an open question, and I think it'll be a question that's continued to be dealt with. Do you have to perform a service if you're against it? I think that's a debate to be had, and that will come through the courts in the days, weeks, months, and years to come.
No doubt that debate will happen. Joey Jackson, always great to see you. Take care.
Good to see you, Lynn. Thanks so much.